afternoon, YWCA viewers. This is the final episode of our mini-series this week. We hope you've enjoyed learning about our new board members with us as we continue the Butterfly Effect Empowerment interview series. Please continue to tune in this upcoming November. We're going to continue the series with new hosts and guests with topics focused around Homelessness Awareness Month, as well as gratitude as we head into the holiday season. Last, but certainly not least this week, we've got our last new board member of our interview series, Series 3, Episode 8, Samantha Miller-Herrera. Welcome, Samantha. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Lauren.
We're going to jump right into it because I want to get to know you more, and I know our audience wants to get to know you more. It's been so fun learning about all of our 8 new board members, their passions, what brought them, to the YW board, and just kind of like what speaks to you about the service areas that we provide. So let's get right in. Let's do a little introduction, a warm up, if you will. Tell us about where you're from and what you do currently. Anything you want to tell us about Samantha?
Okay. I am Samantha Miller-Herrera. I am from Rotterdam, New York. I'm a graduate of Guilderland High School, McGill University, and Western New England College School of Law. I am First Deputy County Attorney for Family Court, and I primarily prosecute juvenile delinquency cases for Schenectady County. I'm a mom. I'm a stepmom. I'm a military spouse, and most of the year I'm a reluctant soccer mom. So,
takes up a lot of time. I just started that phase of life with my 5-year-old, and it's amazing even at that age, our weekends become consumed. But as long as they love it, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah, correct.
For the children. Obviously busy life, everything that you mentioned there, it takes balance. How do you find that you're able to balance work and home life?
Well, so I have 4 kids at home, 11, 5, and 2-year-old twins. I have 2 stepkids that are out of the house, 22 and 19. I work full-time for Schenectady County. I do interviews with the YWCA on my lunch break of the Rotterdam Town Board. So I will say that as much as I'm a huge proponent of work-life balance, I don't think I have any right now. I find either one part of my life or the other part of my life is all-consuming for a period of time, and then it switches, and then it goes back, and and luckily I have a very supportive spouse and my parents who are super involved and helpful in all things child-related. So I would say that in order to maintain any semblance of work-life balance, I am a perpetual scheduler. I have to-do lists. I have calendars. I have electronic calendars, paper calendars, and I block out time for everything. Block out time to go to soccer games. I block out time to, over the weekend, my 11-year-old and I went to see the Philadelphia Orchestra at SPAC do Harry Potter. I block out the time. I make sure there's enough time to work with my agencies that need legal consultation. I make sure that there's time to go home and make dinner. I make sure there's time to just deal with whatever by blocking it out. And sometimes, that angers people, but you have boundaries in order to be able to do what's best for you and your family. And so that's what I do.
Yeah, boundaries has come up in almost all the conversations around that question. I think it's such an important kind of life lesson to kind of accept that you need to set boundaries, even if it makes some people unhappy. But I love when you started, you're like, I'm not great at it. I have to shift constantly. And sometimes your bucket's filled on this side and you've got to kind of look around and get feedback from those that you love and say, okay, we've got to focus and make time for other things. Because I think a lot of us do operate like that as much as we try, and we know what we're supposed to do and we know about all the self-care tactics. But when you're passionate about what you do and you've got a lot of people around you that rely on you, it's hard to do that sometimes. So it's hard to kind of take a break and step away. So I can appreciate that.
Yeah, sometimes your kid is struggling with math and you have to not talk to a client at 7 o'clock at night so that you can make sure you're helping them study for the math test that they have on Friday. Yeah. Sometimes a pedicure with your earbuds in, making sure people have what they need.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. Tell me about a role model or a mentor that you've had in your life or have currently, and what qualities about that person kind of inspire you?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of great role models and mentors at different points in my life and in my career. Um, but I think at this point in my life, I don't look to a role model or a mentor. I really rely on a peer group
Mm.
who is able to redirect me, remind me of what's important, and keep me on track. Um, the world has changed so much. You know, we went from being in constant contact, always dealing with stuff, to isolationists at home, having only our nuclear families there, trying to keep things moving. I had two children during the pandemic, during lockdown. So what I found is, you know, trying to um, push my career forward, trying to help my family sustain through a difficult time, all of those things. The best thing that I was able to do was find a group of peers, mostly other moms who are similar age, similar point in their career, who have the same ups and downs with their kids, with their home life, who could set me back on track. And I
Yeah.
mean, it takes a village, right? Well, it took a global pandemic for me to find my village.
Yeah.
And you know, really learn to rely on my community
Hmm.
and to find people who are truly important and who I'm important to and who are important to me,
Yeah.
and to sacrifice and help each other and do what needs to be done to do what's
Hmm.
best for our families.
Yeah, absolutely. I, before the pandemic, we had talked internally at the Y about starting like a mom support group, or like just that tribe, because some people don't have that village. And it, like you said, it made such a difference in my life when I started to establish that kind of base of people that you could text late at night and say, "Oh God, here's a picture of this. Has anybody encountered this before? Like, what am I dealing with here?" It's so much less isolating when you feel like you're alone in that scenario. So maybe I'll work with the counselors. That's something we can get going in the fall, because I really think it's such a good idea and so important for parents to have that outlet. So
Yeah, I
thanks.
mean,
I'm gonna write that down after our meeting.
a rough day at work and then go
Yeah.
home and have your child have regressed in potty training and just be like ready to pull your hair out, and have another mom be like, it happens. Tomorrow's a new day for you
Yeah.
and for your kid. You're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
go to bed early and start fresh tomorrow. You need somebody who can just
Yep.
put you in a solid setting.
Yep, get you back on track for sure. Next question. I love the answers to these about the deserted island. So, if you were on a deserted island, and I don't know about you, but as a mom, I'm like, that would be a dream. I take it as a vacation until someone found me. What three things would you want with you, and why?
I mean, I'm an attorney, so my clarifying questions would be: is it a tropical island? Is it a cold
Yes,
island? Okay.
tropical island.
And then I decided it really didn't matter, because for me, what I would want on a deserted island is a good book, a comfortable bed, and a coffee maker, and I'm good. Like, all I need in life. Like, I just want to lay in bed with a cup of coffee and read my book.
Totally.
It never happens, but it's what I'd like.
I know. I think I could write out a solid 7 days on those three things for sure, at the very least. I love that. Tell me something unique about you that you think others should know.
I thought about this for a while, and I was like, what really, when I talk to people, I can be an intense person. I like to say I'm an acquired taste. Um, I do a lot. There's a lot of moving pieces. I like to be reasonable, rational, and look at problems and solve them. Um, Something people should know, and maybe I should just come with a sticker that says, "Hi, my name is Sam. I'm an only child."
Enough
Um,
said.
so when I tell people I'm an only child, a little light bulb goes off, and like I make sense to people. So I think that's probably what it is. If I were to tell people that up front, they would probably strategize how they deal with me.
Oh my gosh, it's very true. As soon as you said it, I was like, ah, yes.
It's the thing.
That's great. I love it.
Children tell me the same thing. They're like, "Yep, we're very are, we had to do it. We were the
Yeah.
first child, we were the last child, we were babied, but we were also pushed." And
Mhm.
growing up, the rules of that first child that were like, "No, you're not doing this. No, you're not doing that." You get all of it wrapped up in us, and we like, "Yep, got to plow forward."
Mhm.
It it definitely creates a different set of personality. But yeah,
It's
I would say that's probably what people
yes.
front about me.
We need those people in our lives for sure. I feel like it's like you said, it's the balance. You can't it's I love having those people, especially on a work team. It's a great asset to a work team for sure. Let me ask you, where do you draw your inspiration from? Like if you're having a really, crummy day, whether it's work or at home, what kind of keeps you on the right track and keeps you inspired?
I mean, again, this is tough, right? In a pandemic world, what we kind of look to for inspiration has changed. And, a lot of people will say their faith has kept them on track and all these things. Um, I would say that I have a best friend who keeps me on track and has inspired me to be a kinder, gentler person. Um, I actually met her when I worked for the YWCA 15 years ago. We met there, and she we had very different backgrounds, and something she told me right out of this, I was right out of law school. I
Mhm.
was not admitted to the bar yet to practice, and I was like rah rah rah, and she's like, kill them with kindness, that will get
Mhm.
you want to go. And I was like, what? That makes no
Yeah.
sense. So over the years, I've reflected on that. I've built it into who I am. I remind myself of that. And just her idea that kindness makes a bigger difference than getting what you want immediately.
Yeah.
So I draw my inspiration from her and from that.
Mhm.
And it really helps me to get through those tough days, because if you're having a tough day, somebody else is having a tough day too.
Yeah.
And you know, being kind is better than just right out of the gate being aggressive or just pushing your way through like a bull in a china shop.
Yeah.
You're going to get farther.
Mhm.
So she reminds me of that, and it inspires me to be a person that I don't think I am naturally. It's not my default setting. I think I'm a kind person, but
Mhm.
not to the same extent.
I didn't know that you used to work at the YW, the RYW?
Yes.
How and 15 years ago, you said?
Yes, I was an advocate in the domestic violence program.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So you probably still know some of the staff that are there currently, because we have a lot of long timers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when I started 9 years ago and sitting around in a meeting, and one of the things that we do a lot is kind of go around and everybody talks about how many years they've been here, as like an icebreaker. And we collectively like add up how much experience and expertise we have in the room that makes us all kind of feel stronger. Even if it's your first day, you're like, wow, I got a lot behind me, we put it together. But yeah, the longevity of some of our staff that have been there is incredible to me. It's unique to any job that I've ever had. And now 9 years later, I'm the one around the table. People are like, wow, 9 years. I'm like, God, it goes by so quick. You get sucked in. But that's great. I didn't know that about you. That's wonderful. I love that. Um, can you name a significant event in your life that has shaped who you are?
Yeah, I mean, so oddly, probably that time working at the YW has shaped who I am. So I went to law school studying to do estate planning work, and I got the job at the YWCA. I saw an ad in the paper that said $10 an hour, work for the YWCA at Family Court. And I was like, well, I'm waiting for my bar exam results to come back, and I don't want to be at a law firm if I failed the bar exam and then get file and see what it's like. So I interviewed, I got the job. I started the week of Halloween in 2006. Yeah. And I met my best friend. We weren't best friends right off the bat, but we are now. We're tight. And I met my husband while I was working for the YWCA. I had an office in Family Court on the 4th floor, and he was working there. I worked in the domestic violence program as an advocate, and I probably had no experience actually working with clients at that point. It's like you go to law school, you read books, you have no idea how to actually interact with clients. Yeah. I learned so much about working with survivors, about things to watch out for. I learned how to draft legal paperwork that I should have learned in law school, but no, I learned it at the YWCA because we trained in how to help people prepare their paperwork to go to court. I learned how the legal system looks from the outside. And maybe, career-wise, I learned what kind of attorney I wanted to be and what kind of attorney I didn't want to be. I would see some attorneys who would just walk past their clients or, yeah. And I saw attorneys who said, call me. Whatever you need, you call. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Be your advocate, to be there for you, to figure it out. I will help you through this. And that's the attorney I wanted to be. And I shifted gears completely. I never did any estate planning after that. And I've been in family law ever since.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, the advocacy piece of our agency is such a vital resource. Until you need or find yourself in the system, it's really hard to understand how it works and that it doesn't feel fair a lot of the time. It doesn't feel just. And I just met up with a survivor that went through our programs over the weekend. We grabbed coffee to catch up, and she talked about the advocacy piece too, how she remembers being so frustrated and scared and not knowing what to expect and angry. And just to have somebody that put their hand on her back on the way out of court and said, it's okay. We're going to make it to the next one. Let's, go back to the drawing board. Let's figure out what you have control over. And it just meant so much to her. So I think the advocacy program that we have, it's where a lot of victim survivors meet our staff for the first time up in that 4th floor office, which we're still in. So it's a great resource. And yeah, I love that you started there. I think that's so cool.
Run into clients that I worked with when I was at the YW who stop me on the street. They stop me in the building. They stop me in family court, and they'll say, like, you made such a difference in my life. One of the people I've run into ended up working with my kids at daycare. She is a good friend.
Yeah.
15 years.
Yeah. It's amazing. When you've talked a lot, just about last question about our mission, but when you do hear our mission, tell me about how you and the YW are making an impact in these areas, or how you hope to now that you're a part of our board.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've worked hard to help survivors of domestic violence navigate the legal system throughout my career. I also worked at Unity House as part of they have an in-house legal project for domestic violence, for their domestic violence program. So I worked there also. But becoming a board member with the YW, it really allows me to take that to the next level, help develop resources for survivors, and then move beyond the domestic violence program and create better access to justice for historically underserved communities, and really empower women through providing affordable childcare and the other services that the YW is able to provide to help women get out there and learn to be independent, make their own decisions, have financial autonomy, all the things that go into providing for yourself and your kids and your families. And
Yeah. I feel so lucky to have you on our board, really. I mean, the resources that you bring to the table, I can't wait to kind of like talk shop with you and the staff and where we know we have gaps and kind of problem solve how we how we plug in those holes, in the service area, and even expand what we currently offer. I think that's always the goal. We've been responding to domestic violence for the past 40 years in Schenectady County. So our staff has really made a significant effort to focus on prevention, getting into the schools, getting to the middle school, Boys and Girls Club, places where we can have access to young people to talk about healthy relationships while continuing to do what we've always done, which is to be there for survivors. So I feel really grateful that you're on our board now. And I think you have such a great vantage point coming from a staff member and now kind of first full circle on our board. So that's really cool. Anything else you want to share with those tuning in before we wrap up that you think people should know, Samantha?
No, just that I'm looking forward to working with the YW and, providing whatever I can and seeing what the future holds. I mean, the YW has a great history in our community and the future is bright.
Yeah, absolutely. As you may or may not have noticed, underneath Sam and I, there's a little ticker scrolling that has our website information and our main number that connects you to our building at the 44 Washington Ave. So if you'd like to find out more about some upcoming events that we have, the services that we provide, and how to get involved and join us in our mission to eliminate racism and empower women, those are the ways to do it. So Samantha, as I said, you are the last one this week. I thank you so much for your time. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you. And thanks everybody for tuning in this week. We hope you've enjoyed this series. So take care. Have a great rest of your day.
I thank you.